Welcome to Thank God It's Monday. I'm your host, Eric Twiggs. Joining me is Ted Fells, and we are the Digital Dudes. And today we're going to talk about how to move from average to savage. How to move from average to savage. So I was recently, Ted, watching the Baseball Network, and they were having this conversation about what's the difference between a 300 hitter, someone that has a 300 batting average in the major leagues, and somebody that bats 250? And they were going on. I sat up in my seat because they were saying that the person who bats 250 in the major leagues, they make 3 million plus less than the 300 hitter, right? So the 250 hitter by major league standards is average, while over time the 300 hitter is a savage. I mean, the 300 hitter can end up going to the Hall of Fame, and you'll never remember the 250 hitter. And so they got into this conversation. What makes the two of them different? And it has everything to do with moving from average to savage. So here's what they pointed out, right? They pointed out the simple math. They said your typical major leaguer gets 12 at bats during the week, right? During the season and during the week, they get 12 at bats. So the person that bats 250, they get 3 hits for every 12 at bats. Okay, simple math. The person that bats 300 gets 4 hits for every 12 at bats. So here's what it boils down to, Ted. The difference between a 300 hitter and a 250 hitter is really one extra hit over the course of the week.
Wow.
One hit. So here's the takeaway. Here's what we need to understand. We have to answer this question: like, how do you move from average to savage? Here it is. You have to recognize that the small hinges swing big doors. That's right. It's the small hinges that swing the big doors. We're always looking for these big solutions, but if you look at it, the person who is the top seller in the office, you think they're just lucky, or you think they're just they just have this advantage, but really it could boil down to they make one extra call per day. And over a course of a week, it doesn't seem like a lot. Just one extra call. But over months, over a year, it's the difference between getting the big sale or not. Or those of you that still may be in a corporate office, that person that gets promoted, it could be they're reading 10 pages a day in a book. And over time, they're getting knowledge that's helping them to advance themselves. So you have to remember, you have to respect the small hinges swing the big doors. And the little things, it seems like it's not much of a difference. Like, you could be doing these little things and it doesn't seem like you're advancing, but keep doing it. Because over time, you can become a savage and get savage results. And when you do, you will be shouting, "Thank God it's Monday."
Wow.
All right, Ted, what are your thoughts?
I mean, what is there? What else needs to be said on that? I mean, you said the difference in the 250 and 300 is just one more hit
Per week,
just
one at bat per week, one hit per week.
one more hit. Wow. Yeah, I mean, I see that in just about, in everything that you do, whether it's you're working out, right? You're trying to lose some weight, trying to get in shape. Oftentimes, I was thinking about this, I tell you, I take this class, cardio combat, right? So, my trainer, he is a savage. Like, those 3 days a week that we're in there, 5 a.m., I think about the stuff that we do and say, man, when I work out by myself, I would never do any of this. I would never even do this many sets, right? Like, because my mind, I'm not even putting myself in a place that I'm going to do 10 sets of this, 100. Like, I just wouldn't do it, right? But then I see that the change that has happened has been because of him pushing, right? Him pushing that, right? So even as we talk about business and business coaching, right? Those coaches can tell you to do those extra things that that you can't see, yourself, right? That whatever it is, you may think of as you talked about that 250 to 300 batting average. I mean, that person may be working with a batting coach, or that person may be putting extra time in the batting cage. Like whatever those things are to kind of get you the edge. You think about all the great basketball players, the Kobe and Jordan, LeBron, those guys. You hear not so much what they do in practice, what they do after practice and after games, right? That in between stuff that they do in order to take themselves to that next level. And so I think is what we need to do is, all of us, is what is it that we can do to take our game, whatever that is that you're trying to be better at, to the next level, right? Is it reading that book? Is it taking that class? You know, sometimes it can be just even just some simple things. Sometimes we may overcomplicate things, right? So just whatever it is, I mean, just being able to look at that and see how you can possibly, get to that next level, get that edge on your competition or whatever. And then when you do that, there's a chance that you'll be able to truly take that game to another level. And again, with this being Monday, and thank God it's Monday, let's do that this week, right? Let's do that this week. I was thinking, they was having all these conversations about a government shutdown. I had a whole bunch of meetings
Mm.
scheduled. I had a whole bunch of meetings scheduled this week. So we were already reaching out to these customers and saying, hey, we know it's going to be a government, impending government shutdown. Let's see if we can, push these meetings back, because I didn't want to lose them, right? And then we said, okay, we'll see how it goes on Monday. And then over the weekend, they're like, oh, government's not going to be shut down. So I said, well, this morning after that work, I said, let me get in here early. Let me get in here early. Let me get in here and start moving this. Let me plan to put in that extra, right? Because what I thought was going to probably be a slower day as a result of the shutdown. Now it's, all things are back a go, at least until November. So
Right. Another 45 days or so. There
that's
you
right.
go.
That's right. That's right. That's
And we're
right.
back to
That's
this
right.
again.
That's right.
Yeah. No, great points. Great points. It's just that
Thank
it's,
you.
it's getting that edge.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny, like I talk to high achievers. So for example, back to this whole thing about average versus savage. Like some people that get average results, I'll talk to them. They'll say, "Yeah, I've read that book. Yeah, I already knew all of that. Okay, yeah." But I talk to high achievers. They'll say, "You know what? I got this one sentence in chapter 11 that I'm going to use to move myself forward." Or I go to this conference and I heard the speaker say this one thing and it ignited. And that's how they're looking for that edge.
Mm.
Where somebody who maybe is more of a novice is looking, okay, I've got to get struck by lightning, but they're looking for that one edge, and that's the way
Mm.
to focus. You want to move
Absolutely.
from average to savage because those little things add up. Then one quick thing before we close, there's a book I was reading called The Power of One More, and the author is Ed Milet, and he talks about if you set a target, adding just one more to it. So if you say I'm going to do 10 push-ups, do 11. If you say
Mm.
you're going to call 10 customers, call 11. And so I've been starting to do that. And over time, it adds up,
Mm.
right? And so over time, you'll find that you get that edge over someone who may not be doing that.
Sure.
But that's the key. You want to move from average to savage. You want to focus on getting that edge. Remember, it's the small hinges that swing big doors. That's our time this week on Thank God It's Monday. Until next time, have a great one.